This week in Disc Golf saw Big Germ breaking through for a chase card victory after 6 long years. Tatar and Owen battled yet again. The Collegiate Championship had dramatic finishes that no one knows or saw. Ratings week and Tatar falls just short again of hitting 1,000 rated. And really, not so much more. What's going on, all you disgenerates? Disc Golf World, Jefferson, the minivan, and me, Swiss Cheese, you know, the one with all the holes in his game, are currently recording this in a Panera parking lot in Jonesboro, Arkansas. You are watching This Week in Disc Golf, where we cover all things disc golf from the past week. This video is sponsored by Aura. The nephew and I travel the country in a minivan for the channel and tour, relying on public Wi-Fi and coffee shops, Paneras, hotels, and co-working spaces. Our entire content is reliant on our computers that can be exposed to hackers while using these unsecured networks. Aura reached out to not only offer us protection, but to extend an offer to our fans. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if your emails or passwords appear in leaked databases. But even better, they take proactive steps to get your personal details removed from sketchy online data brokers, all in a single app. Aura has given us the peace of mind that we are protected while out on tour. You can go to aura.com/discgolfworld to start your 2-week free trial. Or even easier, click the link in the description below. Every trial membership that uses the link goes to help fund the Disc Golf World Tour directly. I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch. Those disgenerates who contribute to the Patreon and everyone who subscribes. With your support, you guys help take our channel to the heights we have achieved. Over 20K subscribers in little over a year. A crazy tour experience with my nephew, and now here in Jonesboro. Let's jump into this week's disc golf news. With a week off, disc golfers were left with a couple of options. Return home, spend some time with family, like Simon, Ulibarri, among others. Hit Jonesboro early for some additional practice, or hit an A-tier. With Persimmon Ridge en route to Jonesboro in central Arkansas, the prestige and beauty of the course, and the fact that disc golf's magnet, Luke Humphreys, was acting assistant TD, resulted in some of disc golf's biggest names attending the inaugural A-tier event at the property. You had the two best FPO players in the world in Kristen Tatar and Owen Scoggins attending, all the Finnish boys including Nicholas Antala, Big Germ, Drew Gibson, Arkansas's own Kevin Jones, and Kat Murch, among others. MPO saw Andrew Marweed take an early lead after day 1 that saw him extend his lead on the second day to head into the final with a 3-stroke lead. Drew Gibson and Paul Krantz, only 3 strokes off on the punishing track, were still well in range, while Luke Sampson rounded out the lead card a stroke behind them at 12 under. It was tied also with Raven Newsom and Jeremy Coling, both of which were on chase card. For GK Pro coverage, the final round couldn't have gone worse. 2 throwers on the lead card, including leader Marweed, had over rounds. That and only Gibson remained in contention for the lead. Lucky for GK and fans watching the post coverage, a veteran cameraman jumped from lead card coverage to chase card to get some of the action on charging players Raven and Big Germ several holes ahead. Heads up play by Bobby. And a display of a continued problem with our sports mindset of single card coverage being the best way to cover the sport. Raven was great from C2 on the putting green the entire weekend, yet had a costly missed par putt once cameras arrived on 14. From there, really could not get anything going the remaining 4 holes, parring out for the round, giving him a 17 under and looking to see where he landed on the podium after lead card wrapped up. Germ, fresh off a birdie on 13, birdied 14 for a 2-stroke swing against Raven, putting him in the lead for the tournament at that point. Would go on to birdie the next 2, 20 under tournament finish, with only having to watch Drew, who remained in contention. After a costly bogey from Drew on 15, resulting in the victory for Big Germ, his first A-tier win in 6 years. Celebrated with the wrong size jacket, giving off Farley vibes, but got a kick-ass samurai sword for a trophy. And I can see Germ inviting people over to use that sword to butter some bread or cut a sandwich, just to say, oh, this little old thing, I want it playing disc golf. No big deal. Drew was able to take down a solo second place, while Raven took 3rd place at the tournament. In the FPO, the storyline was the same for most weeks, a battle between Owen and Tatar for another weekend. This time without all the flash of a DGPT event. The tournament turned out to be the back and forth battle we all expected. Unlike the MPO, the FPO missed day 1 coverage of Owen taking an early 1-stroke lead against Tatar. Oh, and an epic near ace from Kona as well, which funny enough was due to your boys over at the Disc Golf World. So if you're looking to point point them right here. Boys and gals, sit back for a quick story. Jefferson and I, fresh off finishing a round with Bergnerg at Dogwood, decided to hit up the owners of Persimmon Ridge about us coming to the event to cover the tournament like we do at DGPT events. Got a resounding yes, a roll-up text, and directions from Luke Humphreys himself to the course and the area where the players were staying on the property. Next day, we were asked by Luke and GK to not only run a press conference, but if we could record the FPO lead card. And pretty much like every pro that was there playing the tournament, once Luke Humphreys asked for something, you say yes, and just show up, despite having no experience with those cameras. Because who the says no to Luke? So yeah, here we are with cameras and monopods and little training on the card with Owen and Tatar. Not gonna lie, had a very rough start, but kind of felt like things were getting better. Evidently, we were trash. Such steaming hot garbage, they knew to scrap day one after watching only 4 holes of our video coverage. And yeah, do we feel foolish? Sure. At the very least, I got another story to tell here on Twig. The cameraman on the course is a skill set far different from our coverage and style, and I have grown a far more appreciation for those out there covering and editing these events. So we will take full responsibility for that. It looks like you guys are stuck with us, as my camera career looks to have already come to a quick finish. But in no way, shape, or form did we have anything to do with that shit scorecard graphic. I'm unwilling to land on that grenade, GK. Tatar and Owen's battle continued on day 2, which saw Tatar gain a stroke on Owen to head into the final tied. Tatar would quickly take a 4-stroke lead through the front 5 holes, and with the high winds during the morning, barring a complete blow-up by Tatar, her victory was well in hand after that. Owen took second, and in classic fashion, left quickly to get some practice at Jonesboro as fast as possible that same day. And Maria Oliva waited to score her best round at 2 under on the final day, which was enough to move her up onto the podium for a 3rd-place finish. That same weekend, the sport had the Collegiate National Championship, and I truly don't blame any of you if you had not heard or watched the coverage. In what just might be the best opportunity to showcase the sport differently to attract attention, that is so poorly done that no one with the exception of the players know much about it. Sure, you know when it is, as we see the player march or this year's Ring of Fire, but it generally stops there. That, and some of you saw the highlight 70-foot putt to push a playoff or the ace on 1. But when your coverage impact is limited to about 2 minutes worth of highlights and nothing of the actual tournament, it shows the leaders of this event's inability or unwillingness to promote the tournament to the public. Because let's be real, you're not telling enough of the story for anyone to be invested with a random team or individual. And you continue to do nothing differently to showcase your product or tell that story. Qualifying tournaments have little to no coverage outside PDGA pages and never get fans excited for the upcoming event. And once the event is covered, it sticks to live feeds of the holes and single card coverage. Here there were 150 teams and over 500 athletes, and we gave the vast majority of them single shot coverage from a live feed and a Ring of Fire highlight. That and it was at Winthrop this year, which should have brought even more excitement. Something has to change, because in all honesty, it has been no difference since Jefferson played 3 years ago, with all the same results following. You need to get more of the tournament covered to showcase not only the players, but the colleges they represent to help build them and the programs, and far less single card coverage. Or stick to your ways and miss dramatic finishes from chase cards and far better storylines that might not be near the leaderboards. Which happened, as you had a chase card winner in the singles event and a chase card push in the team event to head to a playoff and an eventual win. Sure, you got the highlight of that 70-foot big putt, but what about the shots that led to that moment? With an off week for the DGPT Tour and only an A tier to compete with, the door was open to garner some more interest in this event. The reason there wasn't? You have to look at PDGA and College Disc Golf's unwillingness to promote and change their approach in the coverage. As for the winners, shout out to UNC Charlotte on the epic win to prevent University of Cincinnati from becoming back-to-back champions. The ladies at Liberty University took down the women's event, ending Missouri's championship reign. And while in the singles event, Benjamin Zorn of Ferris State University edged out number 1 player Erkin Groh of University of Cincinnati for the victory. Kelly White of UNC was able to play clean on the final 9 holes, the birdie late to hold off Genesis Beck of NC State for the win in the women's singles event. Congratulations to all of you. This week also saw the ratings results, which always sees most of you hiding under the covers in fear of a drop in ratings. And the rest of the disc golfers, the scream ratings don't matter. The other storyline attached is whether Tatar can become the first FPO player to break 1,000 rated, which for the second month in a row, fans will have to wait another month as she finishes 999 rated yet again, unable to break through for the historic moment. Owen and Valerie had dramatic jumps in ratings. Owen had a 5-point jump after her insane Open at Austin finish, and Valerie's 6-point rise from finally being able to play injury-free for a period of time. Ezra Robinson jumped into the 1040 rated club, which in this day and age of competition in the MPO might be the new 1050 rated, as there are only 7 players currently playing with that rating. A list that excludes AB, Kyle Klein, Simon Lizotte, and now Paul Macbeth. Those 7 players include Isaac Brothers, a robot chicken, the phenom who doesn't smile, the one who celebrates first downs, the guy who nobody told him he's wearing his hat incorrectly, and the Rubik's Cube wizard. And while we're on Gannon Buhr, he's knocking on that 1050 list, finishing 1049 rated, a single point behind Calvin Heimberg, who still leads. If his play continues, we could see Gannon atop the ratings list as early as next month. Now, let's get to some quick hitters. Things couldn't have lined up more perfectly for disc golf pros, with an off week between Texas States and Jonesboro in an area that featured a cosmic event that won't occur again for another 20 years. Even the disc golfers who don't believe in the power of crystals or that yah-yah were interested to experience the solar eclipse event. And of course, it came with all the social media shares. You had pros, your average disc golfers, and of course, even we couldn't help ourselves. We were able to tee off on 1, on the 6th best disc golf course on UDisc Top 100 list, Persimmon Ridge, at the start of the eclipse totality. By the time we approached our disc from our tee shots, darkness took over, and the memorable moment had an even greater impact with the fact that we got to experience it from tour. One of the sickest disc golf moments in my life. The remainder of the round only had us have the course to ourselves. In some other news, Merch booked her flights to Europe for her first time overseas. If there was ever a need for a player vlog or a documentary, get Innova to film both Cat and Own in Europe. Constantly. Non-stop. Don't shut the mics off. And you could not tell me that hilarity wouldn't ensue. Discmania, or technically House of Discs, is moving its distribution factory again, this time to Emporia, Kansas, as the company tightens the loose ends. DGN showcased a darts competition that had the FPO beat out the MPO. Pretty cool coverage with the exception of the sad hotel conference room decor. That seems like they're at the Overlook Hotel. Phil Delone, fresh from the walk-off DNF at Persimmon Ridge, says it's cool that the sport allows people with a certain rating to play against the pros unlike other sports. That is an onion-worth headline if I saw one, but it is all factual. Some tour notes. We'll be at Jonesboro all weekend. If you see the two of us, make sure to stop us and say hello. And if you stayed this long, thank you. You are a true fan. And if you're not subscribed, make sure to do so. While you're at it, like, comment, and share. And if you want more, check out all the previous episodes and all the content we continue to pump out.